Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. May I request you to kindly be seated? We will be beginning shortly. As you're aware, this is the Maghrib Namaz break. Some of our members are already outside the venue. The moment they come back, we are requesting you all to kindly settle and we will be beginning. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, may I request you to kindly be seated. Our honorable chief guest has already arrived at venue. May I request you all to kindly take your seats and we shall be beginning shortly. Shukriya. Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen. May I request all our distinguished guests to kindly be seated as we are now about to begin our program. Ladies and gentlemen, we are indeed surrounded by excellence and outstanding talent from the financial institutes, the corporates and the professionals in the finance and investment industry of Pakistan. May I request you all to kindly be seated as we are now about to begin the show. Ladies and gentlemen, may I once again request you to kindly be seated as we are about to begin the program. May I request all our distinguished guests to kindly find their seats. May I request the organizers and the ushers to assist our guests in finding their seats and their tables. Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Sidra Iqbal and it's my pleasure to welcome you all. Once again, may I request all our distinguished guests, I see a number of you still unable to find your seats or busy networking. May I request you to kindly be seated as we are now about to begin our program. We are also very honored to have with us as our honorable chief guest, His Excellency Mr. Muhammad Ali, the Minister of Energy, Power and Petroleum, Pakistan. We are also honored to have with us as our guest of honor, Dr. Inayat Hussain, CFA, Deputy Governor of the State Bank of Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to the finance and the investment climate in Pakistan, much like every other thing, we are always looking at the shocks, the ups and downs, the peaks and valleys, and we've been talking about how uncertainty has become the new certainty for us. But amidst all of it, we have world-class professionals and organizations that are striving for outstanding work and excellence. How is that possible in an environment as unpredictable as now? Now, this is a phenomenon not unique to Pakistan, but a country our size with the Sustainable Development Goals and the other criteria and indicators, the macros and the micros, pointing to the realities that we all know of. How do you tread forward? How do you strive and actually reach your milestones and goals? So tonight, I believe, is going to be a fantastic evening when the fraternity comes together to actually look at what their analysis is and how Pakistan is going to navigate its way out of this myriad and this very complex scenario. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, staying true to the tradition of the CFA Society Pakistan, we are gathered here for the annual Excellence Awards. For the last 19 years, probably a year after its inception, CFA has been regularly, annually holding these awards, and they have grown in size, they have grown in categories. Today, I see a number of you being acknowledged for a diverse range of contributions and excellence in outstanding work. And of course, in that, we have the ESG, we have gender diversity, amongst other indicators. So it's going to be a delightful evening, but we'd like to formally begin with the recitation from the Holy Quran. For this, may I invite a member of the CFA Society Pakistan, Mr. Faraz Bandukra, CFA, to recite some verses from the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah khairan. Well, another part of this city is right now hosting another event of excellence, of glitz and glamour. And it's about acknowledging those who've demonstrated some wonderful work, some creative accomplishments in the past 1 year. I believe the same is true for all of you, and you've all, cleaned up well for this very big evening of yours. Once again, may I request you all to warm yourself a little bit and get into the habit of applauding and appreciating, which is what this entire evening is all about. So let's have a big warm round of applause for our honorable chief guest, Mr. Muhammad Ali, the Minister of Energy, Power and Petroleum. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd also want to acknowledge our guests of honor, Dr. Inayat Hussain, CFA, Deputy Governor of the State Bank of Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to excellence, indeed it is a trying field. And more importantly, it keeps us on our toes, it keeps us awake at night, and many of you tonight being acknowledged have worked really hard to be here. But let us give you a little background of why CFA does this every year, and what is the thought behind it, and how over the years, over the last 2 decades, this has grown to be an industry milestone for a lot of people. Ladies and gentlemen, for this, may I take this opportunity of inviting the president of CFA Society, Pakistan, who's been a financial services professional for over 20 years with a wide-ranging experience in financial markets. He's currently the Chief Executive Officer at the AWT Investments Limited, and prior to this, he's worked with the NBP Funds as the Chief Investment Officer. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for his welcome address, Mr. Sajjad Anwar, CFA.
Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Muhammad Ali, Minister Energy, Power and Petroleum, esteemed guest of honor, Dr. Inayat Hussain, Deputy Governor, State Bank of Pakistan, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good evening. Welcome to the 20th Excellence Awards of CFA Society of Pakistan. First and foremost, I would like to extend my warmest welcome to our chief guest and guest of honor. Sir, your acceptance of our invitation not only elevates the prestige of the event, but also serves as a testament to the importance and relevance of these awards in the financial industry. Your presence here signifies the respect, support, and acknowledgement of the hard work and the innovation that our nominees has demonstrated throughout the years. To our esteemed guests, I extend my heartiest appreciation for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be a part of this event. Your participation underscores the significance of these awards and reaffirms the collective aspiration that we all share. That is to continuously set highest benchmark for our industry. A journey that started 2 decades ago with a mission to recognize and laud the outstanding achievements of our financial industry has today transformed into a grand tradition that we all eagerly anticipate. Alhamdulillah, we have come a long way since our first award ceremony in 2003, and now we are expanding it to 7 different categories that include AMC, banking, brokerage, corporate finance, investor relations, ESG reporting, and Gender Diversity in the Workplace awards. These awards embody and reflect the core mission of the CFA Society of Pakistan and CFA Institute, which stands to promote the highest standards of ethics and professional excellence in the financial industry for the ultimate benefit of our society. Our members, who are CFA charter holders, and many of whom are in this room tonight, also follow this mission and have demonstrated their commitment to continuous learning and improvement, serving as a beacon of knowledge and expertise in the field of finance. I would like to thank the board members of the CFA Society of Pakistan, members of the society, and my fellow colleagues who participated as judges and volunteers to ensure that the evaluation process in these awards is both ethical and transparent. As we come together to celebrate the 20th Excellence Award ceremony, let it serve as a reminder of our industry's resilience and the immense potential that lies ahead of us. Let us take inspiration from tonight's winners and nominees for the epitomize the excellence we all aspire to achieve. I hope that this evening not only serve as a celebration of the outstanding achievements in our industry, but also as a catalyst to inspire us to continuously strive for the excellence, uphold the highest standards of ethics, and contribute constructively to the prosperity of our country. Ladies and gentlemen, CFA Society Pakistan is a not-for-profit organization that is registered with the SECP and affiliated with the CFA Institute based in United States of America. It has come a long way in its 21 years of existence. We conduct professional trainings for the upskilling. We hold seminars, webinars, and workshops on macroeconomy and other sectors pertaining to our economy. We publish educational content for the charter holders and the financial community at large. A greater footprint in the northern region has been established with the introduction of the regular annual Chartered Award ceremonies and networking events and other trainings. There are free job line service to the employers and charter holders. Through the advocacy efforts, we have enhanced our engagement with the regulators like State Bank of Pakistan, SECP, and then recently we have signed MOUs with NIBAF and NEPRA, and we have also published independent director report, and we have held different types of the roundtables to contribute to the regulatory framework. I wish to convey my deepest appreciation to all the volunteers, the graders, and the judges. Your commitment to transparency, diligence, and impartiality has made this award a true reflection of the merit. I would like to congratulate all the nominees and the award winners tonight. Your achievements serve as an inspiration to all of us. Let us use this event as an opportunity to connect, share ideas, and strengthen the bonds that ties us together in our pursuit of excellence. Together, we can continue to build a brighter future for Pakistan and its financial industry. Thank you once again for joining us at the 20th Annual Excellence Award of CFA Society of Pakistan. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Sajjad Saab. And I must also once again congratulate the CFA Society that has been recently granted the Professionals Association status and hence expanding their scope of responsibility in serving the underserved. Very recently, I'm also told that they have embarked on developing a curriculum for the Treasury Management Certification in collaboration with the National Institute of Banking and Finance, and their recent training program on the monetary policy transmission mechanism has garnered an overwhelming willing response. So this has been some of the achievements of your very own CFA Society, Pakistan. This deserves a round of applause. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is wonderful to be actually be surrounded with the subject experts and professionals, the authentic ones. In my 12 years of career as a journalist, and I started out as a business and economy journalist, we've had several federal budget debates, and I often see that either we oversimplify it or we unfortunately give in to the sensationalism. Our understanding of economy and financial management in various sectors has been rather questionable, especially when you go to the common man's perception. But as my economics professor back in the university used to say, that economy is 20% reality and 80% perception. And you guys are the real narrative builders who are going to manage that perception and who are going to show us through example of how things can be turned around. So we really applaud the excellence that we are surrounded by in this room. And must also say that we have with us a very special message to uphold the standards of excellence and professionalism that are promoted through the CFA Institute and its member societies worldwide. We have Mr. Paul Moody, the Managing Director, Global Partnerships and Client Solutions, who has a special message for all of you. He is responsible for building relationships with the asset management industry while overseeing the customer experience, regional and societal relations teams of CFA Institute that covers about 160 societies around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, he has been a strong advocate of the ESG investing since the 90s and holds a deeply rooted passion for the ESG and the climate investing. So ladies and gentlemen, let's tune in to the very special message that Mr. Paul Moody has for all of you.
Hello, welcome everybody. My name is Paul Moody, and I'm the Managing Director of Global Partnerships and Client Solutions for CFA Institute, based in the London office, and I'm sorry I can't be with you this evening. I was deeply honoured to be asked to contribute to this flagship event today, the 20th CFA Society Pakistan Annual Excellence Awards. Alongside CFA
rooted passion for the ESG and the climate investing. So ladies and gentlemen, let's tune in to the very special message that Mr. Paul Moody has for all of you.
Hello, welcome everybody. My name is Paul Moody, and I'm the Managing Director of Global Partnerships and Client Solutions for CFA Institute. Field 2. And in fact, this annual award ceremony is one of them. The Pakistan Award Ceremony was the first of its kind and has been replicated by many other CFA societies around the world. I'd also like to recognise our volunteers, without whom these awards would simply not be possible. Thank you. Today we celebrate many key institutions and individuals across Pakistan's financial industry and recognise those that have made a difference across our financial community. Today our awards specifically recognise the categories of banking, brokerage, corporate finance, investor relations, gender diversity, asset management companies, ESG reporting and investment ideas. 2023 has been a milestone year for the CFA Institute. We marked our 75th anniversary, the 60th anniversary for the first CFA Institute exam. We've made 6 enhancements to the CFA programme, the most significant changes we've ever made since its inception in 1963. We've continued to grow our product portfolio. We've built new capabilities. We've expanded into new geographies and markets. And last week we launched our new look to the market with our refreshed brand. Looking forward, CFA Institute will continue to honour our past, reflect on our present, and unlock a future of purposeful growth and enduring competitive advantage, empowering our chart holders with the knowledge and skills to thrive in the competitive investment industry. I'm now delighted to introduce our chief guest this evening, Mr. Mohammed Ali, Minister of Energy and Petroleum, and Deputy Governor Dr. Inayat Hussain, CFA of the Bank of Pakistan, our guest of honour, who will be presenting the awards this evening. Over to you, gentlemen.
Well, that was a special message from Paul Moody. It's wonderful to have that personal touch to it. And more importantly, what stood out for me was how he emphasized on purposeful growth. Sometimes we want to be growing for the sake of growing, and that's where numbers can be misleading. And they can actually tell you and paint a scenario for you that you sometimes wonder how and why will this be, leading to that trickle-down effect that we all would want. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm told that now it's time to answer some million-dollar questions, and let's make use of the brilliant minds we have in this room. So I would like to draw your attention to what lays in the center of your table. It's a little tent that says slide.do, and this is an app. It has a barcode that you can read. In case your smartphone would not do that, you can actually, there are instructions on it, and there are instructions going to be up here as well. If you can put up the slide. Either you read this barcode or you go ahead to www.sli.do and you can enter the event code, which is #CFA, and we'd like you to answer some questions. And let's see who's forecast and how many of you would be able to correctly forecast what lays as the future. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, I hope that you all have your 4Gs on, but in case you're not connected, there is Wi-Fi in the venue, and you can find out about the passcode to that. But make sure that either you read the barcode or you can follow the instructions to reach Slido. Let's take a look at the first question. It's a very interesting one. Where do you expect the policy rate to be in June 2024? I'm recently reminded of a politician who was asked about the return and politician. Now we're all living in an era where we can't name politicians. And she very cheekily turned around and she said, इतने वसूख से तो मैं अपने हस्बैंड के बारे में भी नहीं बता सकती कि वो कितने बजे आएंगे, लेकिन आप लोगों से आज हमारी जो ख्वाहिश है वो कुछ इसी तरह की है कि प्लीज़ अपनी दानिश में अपने वसूख के साथ ये हमें बताइए कि जून 2024 में पॉलिसी रेट आप क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं. Your options are more than 22%, between 20% and 22%, between 18 and 20%, and less than 18%. That's your fourth option, ladies and gentlemen. And we are seeing that most of you have actually chosen between 18 to 20%, but I hope that all of you have already made your choice. अच्छा जी, almost 50%, 45% लोग, बल्कि 46% लोगों का ख्याल है ये 18 से 20% के बीच में होगा. I'm going to actually take away a lot of investment tips from this evening, so make sure कि आप मेरा नुकसान ना कराएं और सही guess करें या सही input दें. ठीक है जी, let's move on to our next question. This is also very interesting and this affects all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, where do you expect the interbank USD PKR rate by June 2024? ये भी बड़ा interesting सवाल है और देखते हैं कि आप इस बारे में क्या कहेंगे. Let's see what people are picking. More than 325 rupees to 1 USD, between 300 to 325 rupees per USD, or between 275 to 300 PKR to 1 USD. और lastly, जो हम सब चाहते हैं शायद कहीं ना कहीं दिल में, less than 275. If this is to be believed, may I be excused to make a phone call? I think I need to tell somebody to not sell right now. Ladies and gentlemen, around 43% of you predict that it is going to be between 300 to 325. एक इसमें अच्छी चीज़ मुझे नज़र ये आ रही है कि आप में से 20% लोग अभी भी कह रहे हैं, only 20% think that this is going to be more than 325. It's going up and down, it's moving a little bit. लेकिन more than 325 is a slightly scary thought, quite a scary thought actually. Ladies and gentlemen, are we good to move on to the next one? जी जनाब, तीसरा सवाल हमारे पास आपके लिए है. What areas of economy need to be immediately prioritized? अब इसके अंदर आपने choice एक नहीं करनी, but we'd like to see which one do you give the most weightage to. And you just need to rank in terms of the importance. The first one, of course, is going to be your number one priority and so forth. Your options are, or your choices are circular debt, current account deficit, inflation, fiscal deficit, or the FDI. Let's take a look. The percentages should appear shortly, but right now, I believe circular debt is your number one for many people. अच्छा, हैरत की बात है, इस रूम में लोग इन्फ्लेशन से ज़्यादा इफेक्ट नहीं हो रहे हैं। आपको लग रहा है ठीक है, जैसा चल रहा है वैसे चलने दो। Let's see. Circular debt seems to be your number one priority, and this is going to be very, very interesting. ये जी आपकी forecasts हैं, and this is the brightest minds and the people who are really the movers and shakers of the finance fraternity in Pakistan. The investment climate is sort of decided by them. यहाँ पे वैसे एक छोटा सा fine print आपके उसमें होना चाहिए था. Chatham House rules apply. Otherwise, कल की मुझे काफ़ी सारी headlines मिल गई हैं यहाँ से, और मेरा काम तो बड़ा ज़बरदस्त हो जाता है, लेकिन I think we are going to put a stop to that speculation. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It was wonderful to engage on this with you. But now it's time to invite some of the best minds. And of course, when it comes to building more confidence in the Pakistani investment landscape, these people are of utmost importance. We are very honored to have with us as our guests of honor, Dr. Inayat Hussain. He's a member of the Monetary Policy Committee, the Council of Regulators, and Financial Stability at the Executive Committee of SBP. He also serves as a member of the Council of Institute of Bankers in Pakistan and chairs its academic committee, holds a doctorate degree in economics and finance from Curtin University, Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, currently shouldering the responsibility for managing 4 groups at the State Bank of Pakistan, that is Banking Policy and Regulations Group, Banking Supervision Group, Financial Markets and Reserve Management Group, and the Islamic Finance Group. He brings a diversified experience spanning over 2 decades in banking supervision, regulations, policy, and operations. Please welcome him. Put your hands together to welcome our distinguished guest of honor. For his address, Dr. Inayat Hussain, CFA, Deputy Governor, State Bank of Pakistan.
Mr. Muhammad Ali, Minister for Energy, Power and Petroleum, Mr. Sajad Anwar, President, CFA Society, banks presidents, fellow chartered CFA chartered holders, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. I was actually very amazed, and I'm sure some of you would also have amazed, when people put circular debt at the topmost problem that should be tackled by Pakistan. Most probably it is the presence of Minister for Energy that prompted it. But I was also thinking that it could be because of the presence of so many of my colleagues from banking sector who have substantial exposure to companies like PL Power Holding and other companies. They will like most probably to address this issue as quickly as possible. And I think it's no doubt that the energy sector is actually a big drag on the economy of Pakistan. And if it is addressed, substantial problems in the Pakistan economy would be taken care of. We are lucky to have Mr. Muhammad Ali to talk about that. I am going to talk about the issues that are at the lower priority than the circular debt. So some of the key messages that I will like to put across is, number one, we have been through and are still passing through a stabilization phase to address certain macroeconomic imbalances. In order to address these imbalances, we had to increase our policy rate to unprecedented level of 22%. We had to take certain actions that perhaps we have never taken, like, for example, trying to put in place certain administrative controls to curb imports, providing guidance to banks, again, to bring down the level of import. But the good thing is that it seems that we are now reasonably at a level where we have achieved to a reasonable degree the objectives for which these actions and measures had been taken. We are observing that the inflation is on a downward trajectory, and we will discuss it in a bit more detail. We have seen that our external account, the current account balance, has improved. Our FX buffers have increased, and we hope that they will continue to increase. In terms of futuristic view, our outlook for inflation, external and economic growth are all positive. As I just explained, that because of the very high inflation and current account deficit, State Bank of Pakistan, or the Monetary Policy Committee of State Bank of Pakistan, had to increase the policy rate to unprecedented level. But this increase was necessitated because of the unprecedented inflation in Pakistan as well. But as I just mentioned, that these actions have started creating results, and as a consequence of that, we have seen that the inflation peaked at 38%, and then it started declining. September is or was a sort of one-off episode, and if those of you, and I'm sure most of you, would have looked at the monetary policy statement, and in the statement we did mention that we expect that the inflation will be high in the month of September, primarily because of the base effect, and the outturns was a bit higher because of the recent adjustment in the fuel prices. Going forward, October onwards, our expectation is that the inflation will continue to fall. It will be a downward trajectory, and this is the primary reason because of which the Monetary Policy Committee felt that since on a forward-looking basis, the policy rate is in the positive territory, as such, there is no need to increase the policy rate any further. In terms of current account balances, because of the high policy rate and number of actions that we had taken, like I said, to curb imports, we experienced 4 months continuous current account surpluses. In the month of July, there was a substantial increase in the current account balance, primarily because of pent-up demand of imports and certain pending payments. But in the month of August, the current account surplus again narrowed, and we are expecting that the September's current account numbers would be even better. And the reason is that the trade deficit figure just released by Pakistan Bureau of Statistics show that the trade deficit is in the range of about 1.5 billion compared to 2.5 billion in the month of August. And we are also expecting that the inflows on account of remittances for the month of September would be higher than the previous month, and resultantly, the current account balance for the month of September would be much better. Going forward, our expectation is that the current account deficit would remain at a level which is reasonably manageable. And why we think so? As this graph shows, that the imports have come down, and we feel that the imports would remain, uh, import growth will remain moderate. And the reasons are, one, we understand that because of the pickup in the economic activity, the import volumes will grow, but these will be moderated because of the commodity prices, which have come down, except, of course, the fuel prices, but other commodity prices, like, for example, palm oil, coal. We had to import coal when it was about in the range of $400. It has come down sharply. And because of other prices of imports that are that we import from other countries. Export volumes, we expect that they will remain stable. And the good thing is, as this figure show, that in terms of volumes, we have seen that the high value-added textile exports, which are roughly about half of the total exports, textile exports, the volume numbers have been increasing, and we hope that this trend will continue. As I just mentioned, that the workers' remittances on average have been in the range of about around 2 billion per month. Our expectation is that the September month remittances numbers would be higher than the previous months, and this is on account of two factors. One is that the administrative actions that have been taken that have resulted in narrowing down the gap between the black market and the open market. And as a result of that, we have seen substantial increase in our inflows, both in open market. Open market is the market manned by exchange companies, and in the interbank market as well. The second is that, as you will see on the right side graph, the numbers of workers going abroad from Pakistan has been on an increase, and we hope that going forward that should have a welcome effect on the level of remittances in Pakistan. I will like to spend a couple of minutes on this graph. As you see that our reserves have increased. The lowest level on this graph, because this is a monthly graph, is 3.1 billion, but in a particular week, actually our reserves came down to around $2.8 billion. So from $2.8 billion, these reserves have increased to $7.6 billion. And on the right side is the SBP forward book, which is actually a short position. And if you see, this has also been declining, and in the at the end of August, it stands at $4.6 billion. So combined, if you combine these two factors, actually the increase in our net reserves has been much more. The important point that I wanted to make is that few months back, our reserves were very low, as I just mentioned, $2.8 billion. And at that point in time, our program with IMF was disrupted. There was a lot of speculation that Pakistan is going to default, or Pakistan will not be able to meet its external debt. Actually, some of the people started saying that Pakistan has already defaulted. From that point, here we are where our reserves have increased. We are in an IMF program. As of now, at least I have not heard anybody saying that Pakistan is going to default. But the surprising thing was that despite these improvements in the macroeconomic variables, we saw a very steep decline in the PKR value. First in the black market, and then it was followed by a steep decline in the open market, and then in the interbank market. And the primary reason was, as I think Sidra perhaps explained, that 80% of this is sentiments. And sentiments somehow were very negative. Everybody was thinking that as if nothing is going in the right direction, and there was a lot of uncertainty, perhaps, I don't know, say some right or some wrong reasons. Recently we have seen that because of the administrative action, because the people have stopped buying FX in the black market, the result is that because of the reduction in demand in the black market, we have seen substantial increase in the inflows in the open market and in the interbank market, and that has resulted in the stability of the in the value of PKR. So the important thing that I wanted to actually again emphasize that we were at a very vulnerable position, and we have moved a lot away from that position, and we hope that we will continue to further move ahead on the positive in the positive direction. In addition to the actions that have been taken by State Bank of Pakistan in terms of stabilization of the economy, we are pretty hopeful that the fiscal deficit of the government will remain contained. And one primary reason of this confidence is that now at the helm of the affair is our ex-boss. And we have worked with it. Many of the people in this room, the CEOs of the bank have worked with her. And actually, few days back, when the supplementary grant of an organization, it was not only that not accepted, it was simply not allowed to be tabled. And someone told me, mentioned that the FM is very unreasonable. And I said that perhaps if there were some unreasonable people in the past as well, the situation would have been much better. So with a tight monetary policy and with the fiscal policy in sync with the monetary policy, our expectation is that the macroeconomic imbalances will continue to get better. This is again an important slide, and I think I will request you to spend a couple of minutes on this slide. There is a lot of uncertainty in terms of the ability of Pakistan to meet its external obligations. And one of the primary reasons of this uncertainty or this sort of doubt is because it is felt that most of the Pakistani FX foreign obligations are short-term in nature. Those have to be rolled over, and there is a high rollover risk. And if those are not rolled over, there is a risk of default. Now, to start with, our external debt has come down from 100 billion back in June 2022 to about 95 billion at the end of June 2023. More importantly, about 50% of the debt is owed to multilaterals, which is long-term in nature and which is concessional credit. Then there is a bilateral loans from friendly countries, and that is the second largest part of our debt. These are the loans or deposits that have been rolled over for a very long period of time, some of them at least, and at least we don't see any reason or doubt that these will not be rolled over going forward. Then there is Paris Club loan, again long term. We have some Euro and Scoop global bonds which were issued by Pakistan. And then the commercial loans. As you see, that the commercial loans have declined from 9.5 to 5.6 billion. Bulk of the remaining commercial loans, which have been obtained from commercial banks, again, they are on the basis of government to government arrangement. So again, this part of our FX obligation is again one that we are reasonably confident that it can be rolled over quite easily. And then we have central bank deposits and others. Others include the Pakistan securities that are PKR denominated securities, like for example T-bills, PIBs, which are held by non-resident Pakistanis. These include Nya Pakistan certificates that have been issued through proceeds from Roshan digital account, and our swap liabilities and SDR from IMF. So if you look at this graph, I do not actually see any reason of major concern, but this is something that we keep on actually hearing, and this is a question that is asked by most of the people in almost every interaction that we do with the analyst or with the media. In terms of real GDP growth, last year was unfortunately pretty bad, but we hope that the growth will moderate. With the growth, as I just mentioned, that the imports will pick up, but our assessment is that that this growth will not have that sort of impact on our current account that the previous growth numbers had, largely because one, the growth numbers were very high, 5.8, 6.1. This time we are expecting the growth to be in the range of 2 to 3%. We are also expecting that part of this growth will emanate from the agriculture sector, and the good agricultural output would have a positive effect both on the inflation as well as on the current account, because we will not need to import, for example, cotton. We will not need to import wheat, and we are also expecting that the export figures for example, for rice would be much better than previous years. This is again the same point that I've just made, that although we expect the growth to be in the range of 2.2 to 3%, we still expect that the inflation again will remain within the moderate, inflation will continue to moderate. The agriculture, and again I think this is important. This year so far, if I recall correctly, the cotton arrivals have already surpassed the total cotton production last year, and the projections for the produce of rice, wheat, sugar, they are much better than previous year, and that would help the growth, that should help the inflation, and that should help the current account. Okay, so being the bank supervisor, I couldn't actually resist to put this slide. So this shows the health of the banking system in Pakistan. In the left-hand side, if you see, our net non-performing loans, because 94%, about 94 or 95% of the non-performing loans are fully provisioned. Banks are profitable, and we mentioned it yesterday as well, when there were a lot of rumors about the 5 lakh insurance by Deposit Protection Corporation. Although profitability of the banking system actually has sort of a two-edged sword. On one, I think more than 50% of this profit is actually goes to the government in the form of taxes, but still people in Pakistan, I think they don't like profitability. So we keep on hearing that the banks are making lot of money. So at the end, I will just like to mention that in terms of outlook, our expectation is that the inflation will continue to moderate from October onwards. We expect that the current account deficit will remain within the manageable category because of the moderate growth in imports, relatively higher remittances, and stable exports. And we also see that the prospects of a moderate growth for this year are bright. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I will also like to thank CFA Institute for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts with you. I apologize, I should have thanked the CFA Institute perhaps at the start of my talk, and I look forward to hear from Mr. Muhammad Ali how the primary concern of circular debt will be handled, and I look forward to the question and answer session. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Inayat. That was a very insightful conversation. And of course, you had them backed up with all these wonderful slides, numbers and facts. Numbers, I was also told, is a representation of the angels because they don't go wrong. 2 + 2 is always going to be 4. And the only difference is perhaps you may be reading them in a very different light. लेकिन आप जब बात कर रहे थे इन्फ्लेशन के हवाले से और आपने हमें ये अच्छी खबर सुनाई कि इन्फ्लेशन इज़ गोइंग टू कंटिन्यू बिकमिंग मोर मॉडरेट, तो मुझे एक किस्सा याद आ रहा था। हाल ही में एक मेरे गेस्ट ने मेरे शो में सुनाया। उन्होंने कहा एक शख्स नजूमी के पास जाता है और उससे कहता है कि मेरी किस्मत बड़ी ख़राब है, मैं जो इन्वेस्टमेंट करता हूँ वो डूब जाती है, मेरा कारोबार नहीं चल पा रहा, पर्सनल लाइफ भी थोड़ी ख़राब चल रही है, प्लीज़ आप मेरा हाथ देखें और बताएं कि व्हाट लेज अहेड, फ्यूचर में क्या होगा। तो हाथ देखा, उन्होंने कहा देखो मसला ये है कि अगले 2 साल तक बड़ी बर्बादी है, प्रॉब्लम आपके साथ रहेंगी, आप जो काम करेंगे उसमें आपको मुश्किल आएगी, कारोबार भी चमकता हुआ नज़र नहीं आ रहा, शादीशुदी भी आपकी नहीं नज़र आ रही, तो 2 साल तक तो बड़ी मुश्किल है। उस बेचारे ने ये बात सुनी, थोड़ा दिल को सहारा दिया, उसने कहा 2 साल के बाद क्या होगा? तो उन्होंने बड़े आराम से पलट के कहा उसके बाद तुम्हें आदत हो जाएगी। तो हम शायद उसी बोट में हैं, हमें उम्मीद और नवीद यही है कि चीज़ें बेहतरी की तरफ जाएंगी, लेकिन काफ़ी चीज़ों की हमें आदत होती चली जा रही है, एंड दैट्स हाउ वी आर कंटिन्यूइंग टू लिव, बट परहैप्स थिंग्स विल गेट बेटर। कराची वालों का तो ये हाल है कि हम अगर बिजली की बिल से परेशान थे, हर डिनर टेबल पे हर रेस्टोरेंट में जाते थे बिजली की बिल की बात हो रही होती, तुम्हारा कितना आया, इट हैड बिकम द न्यू स्टेटस सिंबल, एंड अनफॉर्चुनेटली अ लॉट ऑफ माई फ्रेंड्स डिसाइडेड टू गो फॉर सोलर पैनल्स। The moment we went for solar panels, 1 महीने तक कराची में cloud overcast ही रहा. There was no sun. So that is how we are continuing to be in this city and this country. So hopefully our next conversation and our distinguished chief guest will shed some light on it. Ladies and gentlemen, on the last note, I want to understand, and there are so many experts out here, please मुझे बताइएगा, मैं 2-3 दफ़ा इस्लामाबाद गई, बल्कि लाहौर में भी मैंने देखा कि एक नया ट्रेंड है वहाँ पे। अभी हम USD वर्सेस PKR की बात कर रहे थे, बहुत सारी जगहों पे जो रेट है, यानी नॉर्मल ऑफिस स्पेस आप लेने के लिए जा रहे हैं तो वो कोट की जा रही है USD में। I wonder what is happening. Have we become one of the states, और कुछ मुझे अपना पासपोर्ट बदलवाना है तो कोई प्लीज़ मुझे गाइड करे। I don't understand why people are charging in USDs in Pakistan. So that's one question I want to put on the Slido from my side. But let's move on to the next, the great event in our flow today. We have our distinguished Chief Minister here. And of course, आपकी concern circular debt के हवाले से has been rightly led over there. May I request the event organizers to set it up, because what we'll do after this address is that we will have a conversation, a moderated conversation with the distinguished chief guest as well. So let me take this time while that setup is happening and take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about his illustrious career that spans over 30 years in the public and the private sectors. His key positions included the chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan, Chair of Committee on Power Sector Audit, Circular Debt, Resolution and Future Roadmap, which prepared a detailed report for reforming Pakistan's power sector. He was a member of the negotiation team which successfully negotiated revised power tariff and signed the MOUs with the private power producers. Ladies and gentlemen, he's also the founder of some of the leading companies in Pakistan, including Inbox Business Technologies, Converge Technologies, Elixir Securities, and Al Shahir Corporation, which is a Meet One consumer brand. He's also worked and set up firms in the US, Canada, and UAE, and served on boards of leading Pakistani corporate stock exchange credit rating agency, FBR, Tax Advisory Group, and the Government of Pakistan's Economic Coordination Committee of the Cabinet. He's an MBA from the IBA, University of Karachi, LLM from the University of Toronto, and a mid-career MPA from the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. Ladies and gentlemen, we are distinguished and we are very delighted to have with us our distinguished chief guest. Please put your hands together for the Minister of Energy, Power and Petroleum, Mr. Muhammad Ali, for his keynote address. Ladies and gentlemen, once our distinguished chief guest is done with his keynote address, we'll take this opportunity to invite Mr. Asif Ali Qureshi, who will then be moderating a conversation with him. Sir.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It's an honor, it's a privilege to be here, to be invited to the 20th CFA Annual Excellence Awards. I would like to first thank you, the CFA Society of Pakistan, the President Sajjad Anwar, Asif Qureshi and Mohammad Shuaib, who were coordinating this event with me at least. And this is for me like homecoming actually. I was part of this fraternity 30 years ago. And when I entered the room, it was like, wow. I was actually shocked, to be honest, because the last time I interacted with a CFA society group was in 2011, I think, when I was serving SCCP. And the group was much smaller at that time. It has grown. And when I entered, I was thinking about, there were two thoughts which crossed my mind. Firstly, a lot of people say that the analysts, the quality of people has changed since 1990s when we were in the brokerage industry. I think that's the wrong impression. Today, we have such distinguished people, such great minds, and today this society, this group of analysts has grown so much that I think it has gone way ahead of what we used to have in our days in 1990s. So congrats to the CFA Society for serving this country, for serving this community, and for making us all proud, actually. And the second thought which I had in mind was that we talk about the brain drain from Pakistan, and I'm sure there is a lot of brain drain, obviously. In the last few decades, the rest of the world has offered a lot of opportunities to our people, and a lot of people have left. But despite the brain drain, we have such a large community of great minds, and that gives me hope. And with these thoughts, I was thinking that what to talk about today. And we can, I know there's a lot of gloom and doom in the ecosystem right now in the country. But my job is to share with you what I am seeing on the other side, what I'm seeing in the public sector. And I do realize that sometimes being positive, being an optimist, one gets a bit unreal. So I'll try not to be unreal. I'll try to be a realistic, optimistic person, and I'll try to share my thoughts of what I'm seeing, how this country's policy is shaping up, and what's happening in the corridors of power. And that's my job here today, to share with you. So with these words, I think I'll talk about three things. First, the country. Second, the energy sector, which I'm responsible for today. And third, I would like to leave a message to the people in Karachi, to this group of people in Karachi. So let's talk about Pakistan. What I'm seeing is, and this has been true over a large number of years, what I'm seeing is tremendous potential going forward. We have a number of assets in this country. To begin with, a great group of people, 220 million population. When I am talking to people who are coming from abroad and discussing the investment opportunities in Pakistan, despite the fact that we have had issues on the LC front, on the dividend repatriation front, on the FX front, I have not met people who are not willing to invest in Pakistan. I have not. There are people who are saying we are still willing to invest in Pakistan, provided a couple of the issues that we are facing, they are resolved. And frankly, those are not very difficult to resolve. So I'm seeing that this is a country which offers huge potential and opportunities to investors. And that's one big opportunity that we have. Secondly, we have huge potential in agriculture, in mining, in IT, in exports. And one can ask that all of this potential was there before also, so what has changed? I think there's a big shift in how people are thinking in the country. And the shift is, I think, as a nation, among the policymakers, we are going through a wake-up call. Sometimes things have to really get bad before they get better. And fortunately, they haven't gotten very bad in Pakistan. They are bad, but not that bad. They're challenging. And I'm seeing that there is a concerted effort among various stakeholders within the country who are trying to come together to fix things. I've been in SECP. I was part of the power sector report, negotiation, and now the cabinet. And in the past, I always felt that the coherence which is needed to take decisions and to execute decisions, that was missing. The accountability was missing. Today, although it's a caretaker setup, but I believe and I think that this sort of momentum will continue no matter which government comes in power. What I'm seeing is there's a lot of coordinated effort in the country on the decision-making front. Various institutions and stakeholders are coming together, and they are holding people accountable. Like every morning when I go to the office, I know that I have to deliver. I know that there is so much I can talk on the media, and if I don't perform within a few weeks, I will be accountable. And this is not just true for me, it's true for every cabinet member. And this cabinet, this government is working like the corporate sector. In the very first week when we joined, we were all asked to give our plan for the 3 or 4 months that we have. And then the PM office prepared a list of targets for everyone, which were shared with us. And now on a 2-weekly basis, we are all responsible to give an update on that. And we are asked, we are asked to meet the deadlines that we have. So the way the country is being run today, I don't think this is how the execution, the implementation, the decision-making, and the coordination was happening. So that's a big change in the way the governance is happening in Pakistan. Now, I know that so far, in the 6 weeks that we have been in power, we have been engaged in a lot of firefighting. But since the last week or so, I'm feeling that now we are able to breathe a bit. That firefighting mode is now finally tapering off. And we are now focused on some of the big tasks that we can achieve in the next few months. And now we're able to think and plan. We're able to step back, and that is what was needed, to come out of the firefighting mode, step back, think, and decide what to focus on. So overall, one message which I want to leave is, I feel that the country still has tremendous potential, and I'm seeing a big change in the country in terms of how decisions are being made, how accountability is being established, and I believe that this will continue in the next setup also. So that's one big message which I want to leave here. I know there are issues which are longer term. For example, the productivity of the country is low. It will take a while to fix that. I know our revenue collection and tax system is not up to the mark. It will take a while. But the first step towards revenue collection and taxes to get the right team in place. And there is an effort to do that. I know that industrialization will take time, but there are conversations around it. I mean, on a daily basis, when I look at the prices of energy, I know that I have to incentivize the industry. The model where the industry takes the burden and cross-subsidizes other categories in the country, this is unsustainable. Industry will create employment, industry will get us export dollars, and unless we give them energy at the right price, they won't be competitive globally and there'll be no exports. So this realization is there, but it will take a while to fix and really have that industrial development or reach a target of $50, $100, or $100 billion. Some of the issues are short term, some are medium term, some are long term. So what I'm seeing is there are huge expectations, and I'm sure that we will be able to achieve a bit, but I'm also sure that we will leave the foundation for the people who come in the future. And those foundations, those frameworks will hopefully won't be reversible, and they will have to continue on that path. That is the effort that we are trying to do. On the energy front, let's talk about circular debt. I think that's an area of interest. Circular debt, there are two parts. One is every year the growth in circular debt, and that's in the gas sector as well as the power sector. In the last few years, circular debt in the gas sector has grown much faster than the power sector. That will stop going forward. We have to, and we are revising the gas prices. Since I've taken over in the last 7 weeks, that has been the top priority. It took a while because we had to be very careful in which category of consumers takes how much burden, how much cross-subsidization happens, how do we incentivize industry, how do we ensure that urea production is sufficient to meet the demand. So there were lots of considerations that we had to look at. But the circular debt flow in the gas sector will stop, inshallah, starting this year. As far as the power sector is concerned, that will take time. On the books, the power sector circular debt flow is zero because it's all being paid off from the fiscal. But actually, we are losing money in the power sector. That will take time because the losses and the lack of recovery is huge in the country. As I have already talked about it in the media, we lose 589 billion rupees in our losses and lack of recovery. Now, that's a huge sum. That's $500 billion, more than $500 billion. To fix that, one of the big things that we need is to take the discourse out of the government hands. And we are working on that, and I'll talk about it in a minute. But the big problem on the circular debt front is the circular debt stock. In the power sector, we have 2.3 trillion rupees of circular debt stock, and in the gas, the principal amount is 2.1, so that's 4.5 trillion. But 400 billion out of that is the transaction between the power and the gas sector, and 600 billion is the transaction within the gas sector. So I think we will clean that up. So we'll be left with around 3.5 trillion of stock between the two sectors. Now that's a huge number. On 3.5 trillion, the annual cost at the current interest rate is around 700 billion, which translates into the consumer prices and which makes difficulties for the industry, electricity bills, as you were saying. So how do we solve that? Now, frankly, there is no quick or easy solution to that, but we are working on it, and we have kept an internal deadline that by the end of October, early November, we should have some sort of a plan for circular debt stock. To be honest, we have ideas, but they need to get translated into numbers and on the Excel sheets. But I'm quite confident that beginning November, we'll have some sort of a roadmap on the circular debt stock. It may not be a roadmap which will fix it in the short term. It may be a roadmap which will fix it in the medium to long term, but we will have some sort of a roadmap because I don't think we can continue with this in the longer term. If the energy sector issues are not sorted, then, and if the energy sector faces challenges, then the banking sector, the financial sector will face equal challenges. So we are aware of that, we are cognizant of that, and we are working on that. We have made a few we are making a few big shifts within the energy sector. On the policy front, we are revising a number of policies because what has happened in the past, the big issue has been the policy framework that we are living with. The big issue has been the pricing that we are living with. And those are the things that we are working on. I've already talked about it in the media, so I won't go into that. But I would want to talk about the opportunities which are existent in the energy chain right now. Because taking advantage of this gathering of businessmen, bankers, and the capital market players sitting here, I would like to share some of those opportunities because that's where Pakistan is going. I think within the petroleum sector, there are huge opportunities which will come up in the future in the E&P sector. This has not gotten enough attention in the past. There are very few players in this. There are some very large players, and the small to mid-sized players are very, very few. The policy framework that we are coming up with and the aggression with which we will be auctioning the blocks, I think E&P is going to be a huge opportunity going forward for the private sector to operate in. Secondly, I think going forward, whether any government wants it or not, I think market forces will determine the pricing. Our economy will become market-based. Government footprint will go down. Government's involvement will go down, whether we want it or not. That's a reality which will happen. So when markets will rule, then a natural phenomena which will happen is privatization. Now, I know that the unbundling of the gas sector will take a while, but the power sector will see change of hands, and that will be soon. On the distribution companies front, we have already decided that because privatization will take a longer time, so we're giving long-term concessions. Globally, a number of utility companies, infrastructure projects are under long-term concessions, 20, 30-year concessions, in which the private sector comes in, they manage, and they return it after 20 or 30 years, and they make their money based on the performance. So power sector discourse will be going into the private sector hands, and that will happen very fast. On the privatization front, PIA will be the first one. Work has already begun on that. The financial advisor will be appointed very soon. Steel mill, again on the high priority list. So whichever companies are on the privatization list, a lot of them will start going into the private sector, and they'll start coming out of the government hands. I think that's a big opportunity going forward for the private sector to look at. Pakistan has been working on creating competitive markets in the power sector. We haven't seen much success on that, but I think in the next 3 or 4 months, we'll see some traction on that, and hopefully the bulk consumers will start engaging in the bilateral trading. We are working on that. So overall, the energy chain, there will be opportunities, there will be change of hands, there will be reduction in the government footprint, and going forward, markets will dominate the pricing and the management of this sector. I was thinking that if I stand here today and talk about a lot of hope, then a natural question will be that why haven't we succeeded in capitalizing in benefiting from the prospects that the country has? And there are a number of reasons for that. I know that all of us will have different reasons for that. But I want to share one big reason, and I think that's a reason in which Karachi and this community can play a huge role. I think we have not really flourished, prospered, because of, primarily because of our policy issues. the policy framework. And why have we faced those policy issues? I believe that we have not succeeded in transporting or communicating the right ideas from the people who know what to do to the people who decide what to do. And I think there is a disconnect over there in the country. This group of people, Karachi, Lahore, Faisalabad, Multan, these are the business areas within the country, and Karachi being the leader in that. And this group of people who are analysts, who are thinkers, who play with data, and who analyze the entire economy, here are the brains sitting. Here are the ideas, what to do. Now, what is happening in the real world in Pakistan is, in Islamabad, the decisions take place. And how does that decision-making take place? That decision-making takes place in a way where people decide on the basis of selective information which they get from a select bunch of people who are communicating in Islamabad. The decisions are taken by people who are not economists, who are not businessmen, who are not industrialists, who are not bankers. So they're none of these. And the problem we are facing is on the economic front, on the financial front, on the business front. So there is a disconnect between people who actually know what to do and people who are deciding. And that disconnect has to finish. Now, how does that happen? We have a number of bodies who communicate their messages. We have business councils, we have chambers, but those have a certain objective which they want to look after. I think what is missing in Pakistan is a private sector independent policy research framework, policy research organization. There are organizations in Islamabad who are working on policy, who give ideas to the government, and I've been there for 7 weeks. A lot of think tanks and research institutes have come to me and given ideas. But I think in Karachi, we need a research-based institute, we need a policy research institute, we need a think tank which is independent and which has no vested interest, which serves no vested interest, and gives independent thinking to the decision makers in Islamabad. And it can create the narrative building and can communicate those ideas. We talk about increasing the pie. We talk about not following the extractive model. But actually, we have been following the extractive model because the groups who can access Islamabad, they go and they impact the policy. And that policy translates into profitability for some sectors and other sectors suffer. But it cannot go on forever. So if we want to increase the pie, and when the pie increases, the biggest beneficiaries will be the people sitting in this room. When Pakistan's GDP increases from $1,500 to $3,000 and people have more purchasing power to buy products and services, people sitting in this room will be selling those products to them. The industrialists will be expanding their industries. The bankers will be getting more money in the banking system. So the eventual beneficiaries are sitting here. So the idea I want to leave, and I don't know whether it will happen or not, but I hope it happens, that some people, someone in Karachi, needs to create this organization or these organizations which are thinking, coming up with ideas, and communicating those ideas to Islamabad to improve the policy making of this country. I mean, we talk about the West and US and Far East, but then they came up with Brookings and Rand and Aspens long time ago. I mean, CFA Society, 20 years ago, I remember when, well, not even 20 actually, 30 years ago, when I used to be in brokerage, we were aspiring to get the awards from Asia Money and Euro Money. And today is CFA Society. So this society has created an impact. So we need think tanks or research institutes like this, who can create that impact and communicate the right ideas to decision makers. With these words, thank you again for inviting me. It was a pleasure to be here among all of you. And in the end, bahut bahut mubarak to all the people who are getting awards today. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a big round of applause for our distinguished chief guest. May I also now take this opportunity to invite Mr. Asif Ali Qureshi, CFA, Director, CFA Society of Pakistan, to have a round of moderated interaction with our distinguished chief guest. And may I request the tech team, we have two options available, sir. Just तरह आज options की बात कर रहे थे, you can either get mic'd up or you can use a handheld. So we'll have both these options for you. Okay, ji. One little piece of information for all of you. Of course, this is the interactive round and you'll have a lot of questions. So once again, the way to put your questions across is the slide.do. The details are up here. You'll use the same platform. Hashtag CFA is your passcode. And if you have any conversation, any questions for our distinguished guests, you can put that there and the moderator will be directing them to the guest. So, Asif Saab, over to you. May I request you to take your hot seat as well? And we have about a little bit of time for this, and then the awards will begin.
Thank you very much. Sadiq, thank you. Can you? Okay. While the minister is being wired up, I'll just take a couple of minutes just to say a few words about Ali, because I know Ali, Muhammad Ali, for the last almost 24 years, since the fall of 1999, when I actually got hired by his company, Indus WR Securities. So one thing I really admire about Ali is actually his dynamic personality, the energy that he brings to wherever he goes. And over the years, that energy has not gone away. I remember back in 2019 and 20, when he was heading that IPP committee, against all odds, he managed to pull through and come out with a very detailed report. Some people may actually like it, and others might disagree with some of the findings of that report, but he managed to pull that through. I remember visiting him when he was sitting in a small office back in Nika in Islamabad, and there were so many wheels within the wheels working against this IPP committee, just ensuring that this committee actually fails, doesn't come out with any report. But when the chips were really down, there's one quality that I would like to borrow from Ali, if I could, and that is his ability to lead a team. The dynamism that he brings, the energy that he creates within the team around him is really unbelievable. So I think we are very lucky that we have Muhammad Ali as a Minister for Energy. So Ali, I think काफी तारीफें कर दी हैं. Just a few quick questions from my side. With that introduction, obviously, there's a lot of burden of expectations on your shoulders as well. People expected, you've been the caretaker Minister for Energy for the last almost 2 months now. And you're making all the right statements at all the forums, be it media and forums like these, in terms of energy sector reforms, price rationalization, deregulation, etc. But the general impression is that the actual progress has been a bit slow. Moreover, we know all the problems, we know the solutions as well. They've been discussed for a long time. But it's the execution and the implementation part which actually gets somewhere lost in Islamabad. So how do you respond to those observations? Do you think that's really a fair criticism?
I don't think it's a fair criticism. Because I think we have to keep two things in mind. Firstly, when we came, in the very first or second week, we had to face agitation on the electricity bills. Now, every firefighting issue requires time. So for like 2 weeks, we were having meetings.
How do you respond to those observations? Do you think that's really a fair criticism?
I don't think it's a fair criticism. Because I think we have to keep two things in mind. Firstly, when we came, in the very first or second week, we had to face agitation on the electricity bills. Now, every firefighting issue requires time. So for like 2 weeks, we were having meetings. We had to, continuously report, come up with strategies, go on the media, pacify people. And while that was happening, we saw increase in petrol prices. And while we were handling that, after 2 weeks, we saw increase in petrol prices again. So right after taking over, the first 4 weeks were very, very difficult. Luckily, now the dollar is coming down against rupee, and that's helping. Globally, oil prices have also started coming down now. Secondly, I think people, the implementation arms in the government there are lots of implementation. In order to come up with ideas and convince them, it requires time, because you need people to execute any idea. And because we are a caretaker government, so people know that we'll be there for a few months, we'll talk big stuff, we'll be gone. You know, so there are lots of mental shifts that we need to do. Now, among all of that, we are trying to push through. We're trying to do things. So we have taken 7 months, and I think this could have been 7 weeks, sorry. We have taken 7 weeks to really get going with things. This could have been probably 5 if we would not have faced the initial agitation. But I think I'm happy that we are on the right track. Let's look at what has happened. 7 weeks is, people get settled in 7 weeks in a new job. This is the cabinet we are talking about. Now, what have we achieved in 7 weeks? When in the country have we seen this sort of massive crackdown? Okay, we lose 589 billion, we have recovered 17 billion. That's 3%. I know that. But then, it is not just 3%. It is a change of the way people are living in this country. It's change of a norm. Gas theft, smuggling, Afghan transit trade, currency trading. Now, some of the work is done by the ministry, but a lot of work is done on these fronts by the law enforcement agencies. But the ministry is also involved because all the entities, the discos and all, you know, we have to push them. At the same time, the work that we have to do, say on the power sector, the circulated stock, like today I'm in a position to say that beginning November we will have a plan. We have already finalized the gas prices, and last week every day I was thinking it will happen today. Finally, today we have circulated the summary to the ministries. And I know, and I'm very happy that we took time, because last night, this morning, we were constantly playing with the numbers. So that's one big job done. We're talking about finishing the circulated flow in the gas sector. So I think we have achieved a bit on the energy. One can argue more could have been achieved, but I'm happy with the way things are, to be honest.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I think you talked about that in your speech as well, about the issue of cross subsidies. I was just looking at the data put out by NAPRA about the projected sales for 2024. Out of the total 110 billion units of sales that they're projecting in that year by discos, more than 50% is going to be to the domestic or residential sector. And out of that 50%, half is going to be in the category which is it consumes 200 or less units, where the average rate is less than 14 rupees if you work out the weighted average rate, whereas the national average for the sector to break even is just under 30 rupees. So it's just a massive cross-subsidy element in the low consumption brackets, which has to be, funded either directly by the government or by cross-subsidies by other sectors. So do you think that, that burden of cross-subsidies is actually impairing or impacting the productivity or the competitiveness of other sectors, especially the industrial sector? And is there any plan in the works where do you plan to revisit the entire tariff structure and the way these cross-subsidies have been morphed over the last 20 odd years or so?
Yeah, I agree that this needs to be revisited. What has happened is people have refused in the past to look at the protected category. They just have refused to look at it. जी ये protected category है, उसको देखना ही नहीं है because of political reasons. But what that has led to is massive cross subsidies. I think we are cross subsidizing the domestic sector to the tune of 700 billion rupees or something, 680 billion rupees, which is huge. So we need to do that. We need to rationalize the tariff structure in a way that the burden will be less on the poorer classes and will be high on the rich classes, but that the disparity has to be fair and a bit balanced. But just to share with you, when we were looking at the gas prices, the same issue was existing in the gas prices also. And we talked about and the first thought was we can't touch the protected category. Now that's 60% of the people. So I agree that we should not put burden on them, but we are giving gas in the houses at monthly bill of 200 rupees, 150 rupees, 250 rupees. This is the price of gas in the urban centers people are paying. Now, the same income level of people in the rural areas are buying LPG. They might be using other means, biomass and all, but if they buy LPG, they pay much higher price. So it has to be fair. So what we have done is on the gas, we have made sure that on the lower categories, the impact is less than 500 rupees. अब 500 रुपए का burden या 400 रुपए का burden लोग बर्दाश्त कर सकते हैं. So we have done that in the gas. So there's a precedent now, and hopefully that will be approved, inshallah. So we will do a similar exercise of tariff rationalization in the power sector also. And I agree with what you were saying. Okay. We need to do that.
Okay, thank you very much. Globally, energy transition is something which is already in the works, progressing at a very rapid pace. That's something which is going to happen in Pakistan as well, whether we plan it or we just let it happen in a chaotic way. So do you think that there's any thinking happening at any level within the government that we have to transition towards electrification of mobility, of other consumption of various energy forms, and using alternate means and domestic resources to fund that energy consumption, whereby the power sector emerges as a main, final form of energy, and as people say it now globally as well, that electricity is going to be the new oil because everything is going to be funded by electricity, and electricity is going to come from renewable resources. So is there any coherent thinking happening at the government, at Planning Commission, or your ministry, at Ministry of Energy, or other regulators?
No, it's not happening, and it should happen. It's not happening because we have parked various responsibilities in silos. We have got, for example, within the power division, we are responsible for renewable. So we talk about renewable, but the thinking on renewable is hydel, wind, solar. The thinking is not really electrifying these things through renewable or through whatever means of molecule. Then we have NICA, which is responsible for energy efficiency and conservation and all. Then there's climate change. Then there's petroleum division. So it's all scattered. This will require to be brought under, it will come within the energy sector. Now NICA was transferred to Ministry of Science and Technology for a few years. Now it has come back to us. So there is no structured or coherent thinking. It's not happening. And maybe at some stage, Pakistan will need an energy directorate or something like that, where this whole responsibility of energy transition comes under one umbrella. But at the moment, that's not it's not being tackled at the moment.
Okay. We received a lot of questions from the audience on Slido. So I'm just going to, in the interest of time, just take a couple of these questions and then we'll conclude. The introduction of CTBCM doesn't benefit the masses, as it benefits consumers above 1 megawatt consumption only. So what's your comment on that?
That's true. It's a phase-wise approach because government is the single buyer. We have a single buyer model. If the single buyer, day one, if CTBCM is is implemented across all consumers, it will not be practical. So in phase 1, 15% of the consumers, which is more than 1 megawatt, will be going into CTBCM, and then other consumers will take a while. The roadmap for complete implementation of CTBCM is quite long. It's like 4 or 5 years. I don't agree with that. I think it should be shorter. But in order to make it shorter, we will need to do some changes on how we are buying energy, how government comes out of it, how we issue supply licenses, the wheeling charges and all of that. But I think the way to go is, in the first phase, we should only do the bulk consumers. There's no other choice but to go in phase-wise.
Okay. There's another question. What are the roadblocks in setting up new LNG terminals, especially allocating pipeline capacity? So why are we waiting for only Russia to set up the North-South pipeline?
Sorry, the last part?
Why are we waiting for only Russia to set up North-South pipeline? That's part of the question which came up. So you can probably start with answering the initial part, which is what are the issues which are holding up setting up new LNG terminals? Is that the allocation of pipeline capacity?
We have the pipeline capacity to cater to one terminal. What happened in the previous government, 2 terminals were auctioned, Energas and Tabir by Mitsubishi. But only one terminal can come at the existing pipeline capacity. There's no roadblock in that. We have already engaged with these terminals, and I think one of them will come through. So,
okay,
yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
And Park Stream, the Russian pipeline, it is not the only option, but it is an option which is on the table, which is in advanced stages because of the Russia-Ukraine war and all the sanctions that has stopped. But that can be a good project for Pakistan, because initially it was on build, operate, transfer model on a certain tariff, then the structure was changed. But I think if we can go back to a tariff-based structure, it might be a good option for the country, because we don't have the dollars to put in right now. So it may not be a bad option.
Okay, just one final question. So you talked about that in your speech earlier. What's your view on privatization of electricity transmission, especially part of the supply chain, and also the distribution sector as well? Do you think that within your limited caretaker setup stint, you can actually have some sort of a plan in place which can be then set in motion and not reversed by the subsequent governments, whereby this privatization of the transmission and distribution networks actually takes place?
Transmission, though, we will not touch. It has to come after probably discourse. So we can pick one of the 3 battles at this stage, and I think discourse is the battle we want to pick. Transmission will follow later. There is a conversation about listing NTDC on the stock market because it's a profitable entity. So that's what Finance Ministry and SECP will look after. We don't mind if it is listed. But on the privatization front, we will not look at NTDC. We just can't at this stage. Our focus is discourse. I think in 3 months, we can put a certain framework. We can do the regulatory changes, most of them, and have a roadmap for that. But in 3 months, it is just not possible to get a disco out of government's hands. We have seen global examples. It generally takes minimum 6 to 8 months to consummate the entire transaction. But I think we will do enough work that this is continued and the next government takes it forward. And I think they will have to take it forward. There's no choice. The government will have to come out of it. Otherwise, things will collapse.
Right. I wish we had more time to take more questions from the audience and have more discussion around the energy sector. But I guess that's about it from my side. I would request Sidra to take back control and proceed with the awards distribution. Ali, I think you'll have to probably wait here.
Sure.
Ladies, audio check, audio check. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a big round of applause for this very insightful fireside chat. Indeed, it covered quite a lot of grounds. Thank you very much for that. May I request you gentlemen to take your seats in the audience. We have a couple of announcements before we call you back here again to do the honors of presenting the awards. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Muhammad Ali, the Federal Minister for Energy, Petroleum, is here with us. And I'm sure that the chairs and the setup will also now be taken away. The next segment is a very special one, ladies and gentlemen. There's a special announcement, and on behalf of CFA Society Pakistan, I'm delighted to share that we have a special mention and a special award. Ladies and gentlemen, this is for Mr. Raza Jafri CFA, Director CFA Society Pakistan, who has been awarded with Volunteer of the Year Award for the APAC region by the CFA Institute. This definitely deserves a big round of applause. Raza's unwavering dedication as a volunteer since 2018 is a testament to his outstanding commitment, dynamic leadership, and infectious enthusiasm, all of which has significantly contributed to the advancing of the strategic objectives of the society. This has been a remarkable tenure, approximately of 5 years as a society leader at the CFA Society Pakistan. He has admirably served 2 terms on the board of directors, first as a university relations chair and later as a general secretary. His pivotal role in enhancing the local society's profile and expanding its influence has been truly instrumental. So, ladies and gentlemen, that has been a key achievement. Ye bhi saath hi le jao bhai. Okay, I think we're short-staffed for that, so we're going to wait till this last table is taken away. I have a couple of other acknowledgements, but we can have perhaps a warmer round of applause for Raza. I think you're strong enough to push it. Very good. Shabash. Have a round of applause for him as well. Ladies and gentlemen, next up, notable achievements of the charter holders. We are very proud of our charter holders who have, mashallah, brought more laurels and acknowledgement to the society. First and foremost, Mr. Abdul Rahman Varayat, CFA. He's now taking the reins and is the commissioner of the SACP. And indeed, that's a proud moment for the CFA Society Pakistan. A big round of applause for him. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we are also very proud of Mr. Mohammad Javed Iqbal, CFA, who is now the president and the CEO of UBL. Ladies and gentlemen, another member who is bringing us, a charter holder who's bringing us a lot of pride, and we truly are delighted to announce him here. This is Mr. Tariq Mahmood, CFA, who's now the managing director of Park Libya Holding Company. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, another very accomplished individual who we will also be inviting to do the honors. Ladies and gentlemen, the CEO of AWT Investments Limited, Sajjad Anwar, a CFA. This truly brings us, a lot of pride. I must also say that there is going to be the first award of the ceremony coming up shortly, but to tell you a little bit about these awards, as you know, today is going to be the 20th Annual Excellence Awards, how they have grown, how the new categories have been added, how do we ensure that there's absolute transparency and meritocracy in this procedure. For this, ladies and gentlemen, may I request Mr. Muhammad Shoaib, CFA, who is the CEO of Al Mizan Investments and the Director Advocacy at the CFA Society Pakistan, to give us a little background of the awards and the program.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable guests, I know I am the only one between the awards and the winners, so I will not take very long. You have heard about the story of this award being started about 20 years ago. So I remember in 2002, when I set up this society in Pakistan, it was one of our board meetings, the very first board in late 2002, when we decided that we should take some initiative to recognize the best talent in the country. And that best talent can be in the form of individuals as well as institutions. So there was a lot of debate and discussion, and I would certainly like to remember one of our board members, Mohammed Sajid, CFA charter holders, who has moved on to his heavenly abode many years ago. He was the one who floated the idea at our first board, and we immediately embraced that idea and we started this award. So mashallah, in 20 years, as the chief guest, Muhammad Ali, also mentioned that at that point in time, Asia Money was considered a benchmark, and now mashallah in Pakistan, CFA Society Awards are considered a benchmark across different areas. And over the years, we have grown these awards just from brokerage and corporate finance and banking to different categories. So many people ask this question that how this happens and how it is ensured that there's a transparency in the awards. So we have, first of all, as you all know, that CFS charter holders have to abide by a code of ethics and standards of professional conduct. So they have to ensure transparency in everything. And in case of any issue, anybody in the country is kind of allowed to flag any misrepresentation or non-transparency to CF Institute, and CF Institute conducts they have a disciplinary review committee where they actually check if everything is fine, if the member is abiding by the code and standards or not. So that's a big threat actually, and that's a big, I would say, a motivation to ensure that it's complete transparency. So in this year's program, we have 7 award categories. We have 25 different awards. And actually, as I said, the program has grown over the years. So this year, we have received about 135 nominations, and 59 entities are contesting for these awards. So I would like to give a round of applause to everybody who is participating. Now, certainly, this is not possible without all the volunteers who are working in different committees. So I'm told that there are there are committees of 3 to 5 members on every committee, and total of 30 judges who are actually in different committees to constitute these committees and actually decide on the awards. In addition to that, there were more than 100 people who participated in different voter polls, because not only we want to make sure that all the categories in the awards in all the categories are on merit, but also we would like to seek the opinion of the key market players. And there were about 100 people who participated in these polls. I would like to acknowledge and appreciate the work that all these entities who are participating in the awards was done over the years. Actually, they do every year, and it is very heartening to see that there's an increasing number of participation. So I would say in today's event is a result of a collective effort of thousands of people, and CFS Society Pakistan is very proud to facilitate this process of professional excellence, which aligns with the mission of the CF Institute and CFS Society Pakistan to promote the highest standards of ethics, education, and professional excellence for the ultimate benefit of the society. With these words, thank you very much.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the time that we have all been very patiently waiting for, the annual awards are now going to begin. May I request our distinguished presenters who are going to be presenting these awards to our award winners tonight to please join me up on stage. A big round of applause for our honorable guest of honor, Dr. Inayat Hussain. Please also put your hands together to welcome our honorable chief guest, Mr. Muhammad Ali. And may I also request Mr. Sajjad Anwar, CFA, to please join both of them up here on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, the awards will now formally begin. I'm sure all of you are very excited about, as Shoaib Saab was just mentioning, 135 entries have been received. There's a lot of anticipation and excitement in this very venue. The first award of the evening is for the Investment Ideas Competition for fiscal year 2023. This award is presented to the individual who makes the most accurate forecast for the upcoming year for the provided questions. The survey was circulated at the Annual Excellence Award ceremony last year, and the participants attending live and online participated. I must also remind you that you can use the same Slido and go into the drop menu, take a look over there. You'll see this year's survey being there, and of course the winner will be announced in the following year. So let's come back to who made the most accurate forecast. The Investment Ideas Award winner for fiscal year 23. Please put your hands together for Mr. Farhan Rizvi, CFA from Arif Habib Limited. Congratulations, Mr. Farhan. We would like you to come up and collect your award, and also a cash prize of PKR 20,000 allocated for the winners by the CFA Society Pakistan. Congratulations, Farhan. And now, ladies and gentlemen, formally beginning the first category of the awards, which is to recognize Gender Diversity at the Workplace Award. These awards recognize companies' efforts to providing an enabling and inclusive work environment for the women in the past year. Through the Recognizing Gender Diversity at Workplace Award, we acknowledge the efforts made by the companies in creating and enabling an inclusive workplace. And of course, the categories of the awards for the fiscal year 2023 include multinationals, local corporations, banks, microfinance banks, non-banking financial institutions, and small companies. A committee of high-profile judges evaluated the companies. May I now take this opportunity to invite Ms. Ruxana Narejo, CFA. She is the director of the CFA Society of Pakistan on the stage, as she has been the facilitator for this award category. So the overarching category is Gender Diversity Awards, and of course we have subcategories. For the subcategory of multinationals, Recognizing Gender Diversity at Workplace Award 2023 Multinationals. Ladies and gentlemen, the runner-up award goes to Total Parco Pakistan. May I request Ms. Naila Malik to please accept this on behalf of Total Parco Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, may I request a representative from Total Parco Pakistan to please accept this on behalf of the organization. I see a gentleman coming up. Congratulations, setting the standards and the benchmark high. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, the winner in the Recognizing Gender Diversity at Workplace Award 2023 Multinational. Please welcome PNG Pakistan as the winner. May I request Ms. Rimsha Kiani to please accept this on behalf of the organization. Congratulations, Procter & Gamble Pakistan, PNG Pakistan. Next up, the subcategory is local corporates. Ladies and gentlemen, the runner-up in this category is The runner-up in the category of local corporates is Engro Corporation Limited. Please requesting Mr. Suleiman Ejaz to accept it on behalf of Engro Corporation. Ladies and gentlemen, a slight correction. We have a tie when it comes to the subcategory of the local corporates. So Engro Corporation Limited is also a winner, and there are two companies who have tied up for this spot. So of course, Engro Corporation, a winner in the Recognizing Gender Diversity at Workplace Award 2023. May I now invite our second winner for the tie-up spot. Please welcome English Biscuit Manufacturers, EBM, Mr. Zahid Iqbal, the Director Communications and HR, Director Commercial and HR. Gender Diversity Awards, the subcategory is banks. Ladies and gentlemen, the runner-up, Recognizing Gender Diversity at Workplace Award 2023 for banks. Please welcome, the runner-up is Standard Chartered Bank. Please welcome Mr. Majid Aziz, the CTO of the bank, to please come and accept this on behalf of Standard Chartered. Congratulations, Standard Chartered, runner-up in the banks category for Gender Diversity Awards. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to welcome the winner, and the winner is Bank Al Falah Limited. Please welcome Mr. Faisal Farooq, Recognizing Gender Diversity at Workplace Award 2023 for the banks. Congratulations, Bank Al Falah. Our next subcategory is the Microfinance Bank, the runner-up in the Gender Diversity for Microfinance Bank. Please welcome Mobilink Microfinance Bank, Mr. Ghazanfar Azam. May I request anybody to please accept this on behalf of Mobilink Microfinance Bank? Oh, we have Ghazanfar Saab here. Congratulations, Mobilink Microfinance Bank, runner-up in the Gender Diversity at Workplace Award. Congratulations. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, the winner in this category. Please welcome Telenor Microfinance Bank Limited, the acting CEO, Mr. Kashif Ahmed. Winner of Recognizing Gender Diversity at Workplace Award 2023, subcategory Microfinance Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, the subcategory is NBFCs. The runner-up in the gender diversity NBFC category, please welcome Park Brunei Investment Company Limited, Mr. Amir Shamim. Each of these awards goes a long way in creating a level playing field and creating equity for women. Some of the last micro indicators, the macro indicators, haven't been very encouraging. Only 16% of our workforce comprises of women. 70% of the women who are of professional capability and adult life worthy of working is out of the work cycle in Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner in the NBFC category, Park Kuwait Investment Company. Please welcome Mr. Muhammad Hamad Anwar. Gender Diversity at the Workplace Award 2023, NBFCs, Park Kuwait Investment Company Private Limited. Congratulations to you, Hamad Sahab. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, the subcategory is small companies. Please welcome the runner-up in recognizing gender diversity small companies for this year is Infra Zamin Pakistan Limited. Please welcome Ms. Maheen Rahman. I believe Maheen is not with us. May I request anybody from Infra Zamin to please accept this award, runner-up in this category. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the winner in this category of the small companies in gender diversity, the overarching category, none other than one of Pakistan's favorite teas, Lipton Tea and Infusions. Please welcome Ms. Shazia Rais Akbar. We also have Mr. Charles Harris, the rewards manager, accompanying her. Recognizing Gender Diversity at Workplace Award 2023, subcategory Small Companies. Congratulations, Shazia and Charles. Thank you and congratulations. And with this, we'd also want to thank our facilitator, Ruxana Nerejo, who has been a focal force when it came to facilitating this set of awards. Ladies and gentlemen, next up, we are going to move to the ESG Reporting Awards category. This award recognizes organizations that show the best ESG performance for the year. A committee of judges have evaluated the following aspects of the ESG based on information provided by the company. These included the ESG elements integrated into the business and operations, the ESG incorporated in the long-term goals of the company, how is the company benefiting from the incorporation of ESG in business, and steps taken by company to adapt to the changing business environment. First and foremost, the subcategory in this is, of course, the financial institutions, and the runner-up winners of this is, in this category, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for ABL Bank. Please welcome Mr. Saeed Tariq Ali. Best ESG Reporting Award for the year 2022-23, Financial Institutions. ABL is the runner-up. Congratulations. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, the winner in this category, Best ESG Reporting Award of the Year for Financial Institutions. The winner is Bank Al Falah Limited. Mr. Faisal Rabbani, may I request you to collect this on behalf of the bank. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be for the corporates now. The subcategory is corporates. Runner-up in the ESG Reporting Awards, corporates. Please welcome, the runner-up is K Electric. May I welcome Alia Idris to please accept this. She, of course, heads the ESG function at K Electric. Ladies and gentlemen, Best ESG Reporting Award for the corporates. The winner is Fauji Fertilizer Company Limited. May I request Brigadier Irfan Khan, retired, to please accept this on behalf of Fauji Fertilizers. Congratulations, sir. Our next category is, of course, the investor relations, a very key point. We've been emphasizing on how important the perception and the sentimental values and reactions can be. The Investor Relations Awards recognizes the listed entities that demonstrates high standards in communicating with the shareholders and the stakeholders at large. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, the first subcategory to this is the financial institutions. But before we begin the awards, may I request Mr. Raza Jafri, CFA, Director, CFA Society, who has facilitated this particular category, to please join us up on stage. Best Investor Relations for the year 2022-23, Financial Institutions. The runner-up is UBL. May I request Mr. Arif Akmal Sefi to please accept this on behalf of UBL Bank. Congratulations, UBL. The Investor Relations Award. It's a tightrope to manage when it comes to managing sentiments and communication of such a key industry indeed. Key function for any organization as well. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, the winner in this category, none other than, please put your hands together for Bank Al Falah Limited. May I request Syed Akbar Ali to please accept this. Best Investor Relations for the year, Financial Institutions, Bank Al Falah. Congratulations. And of course, the subcategory is now of the listed companies. Best Investor Relations for the year, listed companies. The runner-up is, please welcome Engro Corporation Limited, Mr. Suleiman Ejaz. May I request you to please accept this on behalf of Engro Corporation Limited. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, the winner in this category, Best Investors Relations for the year, listed companies, the winner is, rather lucky I must say, Lucky Cement Limited. Mr. Atif Kaludi, may I request you to please accept this on behalf of Lucky Cement. Congratulations, and with this I must also thank Mr. Raza Jafri, CFA, for facilitating this set of awards. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to move into our next category, that is of Corporate Finance Awards. Through this award, the investment banks and brokerage firms are recognized by the CFA Society Pakistan for the corporate finance and investment banking transactions conducted during the year. Committee of experts have evaluated this, and once again, there are 3 awards in this category: the fixed income, equity and advisory, and the transaction of the year. May I now request Mr. Muhammad Asim, CFA, on stage, who has been the facilitator for this category, to please join us for giving away this set of awards. Ladies and gentlemen, 3 awards in this, and of course the first category, as we've talked about, is the fixed income, Corporate Finance Awards for fixed income. Unfortunately, there is no runner-up in this category, so we're going to go straight for the winner. Please welcome the winner in the Corporate Finance Awards for the fixed income. The winner is Arif Habib Limited. May I request Mr. Ahmad Tahir to please accept this on behalf of the company. Ladies and gentlemen, in the Corporate Finance Awards, the second subcategory is Equity and Advisory. And we have a surprise in this category as well. There is no runner-up, but there are 2 winners who are tying up for the first spot. So first and foremost, may I invite the first winner. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Arif Habib Limited. May I request Mr. Shahid Ali Habib to please accept this. Corporate Finance Awards, the subcategory is Equity and Advisory. First winner giving a strong tie-up in this category is Arif Habib Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, the second winner in this category, Equity and Advisory in the Corporate Finance Awards, please welcome Top Line Securities Limited, Mr. Umar Saleh. Congratulations to Topline. Of course, living up to the name and the reputation. Congratulations, Mr. Umar. Next up, the third subcategory in the Corporate Finance Awards. This is the Transaction of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, this goes to Mizan Bank Limited for REIT Musharka Financing Facility Transaction. Please welcome Mr. Zehram Iqbal for collecting this on behalf of Mizan Bank. There is again no runner-up in this category, only one winner, and that happens to be Mizan Bank for the Transaction of the Year. Congratulations, and with this we'd like to thank our facilitator. Thank you for being here, Asim, and for facilitating this set of awards. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, are the Brokerage Awards. Of course, the Brokerage Award recognizes those brokerage firms that have demonstrated high standards and performance throughout the year. The Research Reports and Research Analyst Awards were evaluated on measures such as investment case and analysis, financial analysis, valuation, reader friendliness, risk, etc. And with this, I would like to invite Mr. Taha Khan Javed, CFA, who is the facilitator for this award category. Please welcome Mr. Taha Khan Javed, CFA. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 5 awards under the category of the Brokerage Awards category, and each has a runner-up and a winner. First award in this category is the Best Equity Research Analyst of the Year. For this, ladies and gentlemen, once again, the winner company is Topline Securities. Please welcome the award recipient, Mr. Sunny Kumar. Runner-up in the Best Equity Research Analyst of the Year category. Congratulations to Mr. Sunny Kumar. He's quite a regular at picking up awards, and I've seen him earlier at a lot of fraternity events as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner in this category, Best Equity Research Analyst of the Year, please welcome from the JS Global Capital, Amreen Surani. Congratulations, Amreen. Ladies and gentlemen, the next category in the Brokerage Awards, Best Equity Salesperson for the Year. The runner-up in this category is from the organization. Please put your hands together for Arif Habib Limited. The winner is Furqan Aslam. Runner-up in the Best Equity Salesperson of the Year. Congratulations to you, Furqan Aslam Sahab. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, the winner in this category, Best Equity Salesperson of the Year. Any guesses? Once again, this shield is being lifted by JS Global Capital. Please welcome Syed Farhan Rizvi from the JS Global Capital, Best Equity Salesperson for the Year. Our next category, ladies and gentlemen, brokerage awards. Our distinguished chief guest had been pointing to how important data and analysis can be, how research can play a very important role in influencing key decisions when it comes to the policy framework. Ladies and gentlemen, this category is the Best Equity Research Report Award for the year. The runner-up is once again JS Global Capital Limited. The winner is Mr. Faisal Irfan. Faisal Irfan from the JS Global Capital, runner-up in this category. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of Best Equity Research Report Award for the year. Please welcome Ms. Yusra Beg from the Intermarket Securities Limited. May I request someone from the organization to please collect it on her behalf? Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Yusra Beg, the Deputy Head of Research with Intermarket Securities Limited, our winner for the Best Equity Research Report Award for the year. Ladies and gentlemen, the next category in this Brokerage Awards larger category is, of course, for the Best Economic Research House of the Year. The runner-up is, please welcome Mr. Mohammad Suhail from Topline Securities Limited. Best Economic Research House of the Year. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this category, the Best Economic Research House of the Year. Please welcome Ms. Sana Tawfiq from the Arif Habib Limited. Congratulations, Sana. Last subcategory of the Brokerage Awards, larger category. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Best Equity Brokerage House of the Year. And the runner-up is, please welcome Mr. Imtiaz Gadar from the JS Global Capital Limited. Runner-up for the Best Equity Brokerage House of the Year. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, the winner in the Best Equity Brokerage House of the Year. Please welcome, we have no surprises here, Mr. Arif Habib Limited is the company, and of course, Mr. Shahid Ali Habib is going to accept this. Shahid Ali Habib from the Arif Habib Limited, Best Equity Brokerage House of the Year. Congratulations, Mr. Shahid Ali Habib. Next, and I would also like to thank our facilitator. Thank you, Taha Khan, Javed, for being here and for facilitating this set of awards. Next up, our category is, of course, the Best Asset Management Company Awards. The award category was introduced at the Annual Excellence Awards last year to recognize the outstanding performance of asset management companies, including qualitative and quantitative factors. Ladies and gentlemen, may I acknowledge and would also request Mr. Mohammad Sajid, CFA, who has been the facilitator for this set of awards, to please join us up on stage for this. There are no subcategories. The Asset Management Company Awards, we're going to begin with the runner-up, and we have in fact 2 runners-up in this category. First runner-up, Best Asset Management Company Award for the year. Please welcome from the ABL Asset Management, Mr. Naveed Naseem. First runner-up, there are 2 runners-up in this category. May I request the gentleman to please come in center stage to facilitate our photographers, please? Yeah. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, the second runner-up in the same category, Best Asset Management Company of the Year. Please welcome Mr. Khaldoon bin Latif from the Al-Falah Asset Management. May I request somebody from Al-Falah Asset Management to please accept this? I do see a gentleman walking towards us, yes. Second runner-up in this category, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the winner in the Best Asset Management Company Award category. Please welcome from Al Mizan Investment Management Limited, Mr. Mohammad Shoaib, CFA. Congratulations, Shoaib Saab. And with this, ladies and gentlemen, this category comes to a close. Thank you, Mr. Mohammad Sajid, for facilitating this set of awards. Next up, we are moving towards the big awards, the banking awards. This is, of course, the last category, last but definitely not the least. It's time to award, there are about 6 subcategories in this: the best microfinance bank, the best digital microfinance bank, best digital banking services, best Islamic bank, best medium-sized bank, and largely the best large-sized bank. Ladies and gentlemen, the evaluation of the digital bank category included measures such as customer reach, digital banking activity, digital banking infrastructure, and many others. May I request Mr. Raza Jafri, CFA, to please join us up, as he was the facilitator for this category. So let us begin with the last category, the banking awards. Ladies and gentlemen, first subcategory, Best Microfinance Bank Award of the Year. There are no runners-up, only winners here. Please welcome from the HBL Microfinance Bank, Mr. Muhammad Amir Khan, President and CEO, Best Microfinance Bank Award of the Year. Congratulations, Mr. Muhammad Amir Khan, President and CEO, HBL Microfinance Bank Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, our second subcategory in the Banking Awards, the Best Digital Banking Services Award of the Year in the Microfinance Banks category. Of course, there are no runner-up here as well, only winners, and the winner is Mobilink Microfinance Bank Limited. Please welcome Mr. Ghazanfar Azam to please accept this. Congratulations, Mobilink Microfinance Bank. If we have to really serve the underserved, the bottom of the pyramid where the needs are dire, and we really need to bring them in the banking network, that is, of course, the digital bringing together with microfinance is the way to go. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, the category is Best Digital Banking Services Award of the Year for commercial banks. I feel that's where the future, a lot of you are, of course, focused there. Let's begin with the runner-up. The runner-up in this category is Bank Al Falah Limited. Please welcome Mr. Mohammad Yahya Khan, the Group Head of Digital Banking Group Bank. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Best Digital Banking Services Award of the Year 2022 for the commercial banks. Please welcome Mr. Nasir Salim from HBL. Congratulations, HBL. The Best Digital Banking Services Award of the Year, commercial banks. Congratulations, sir. The next category is the Best Islamic Bank of the Year. The runner-up in this category, please put your hands together for Bank Islami Pakistan Limited. Please welcome Mr. Rizwan Atta, the CEO of Bank Islami, to please accept this. Congratulations, Bank Islami. Of course, now the category moves to the winner, the Best Islamic Bank of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mizan Bank Limited, Mr. Ariful Islam, the Deputy CEO of the bank. Congratulations, Arif Saab. This is definitely going to go in a very well-decorated shelf already. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, the last two categories in the Banking Awards category. This is going to be for the Best Bank of the Year 2022, mid-sized banks. Ladies and gentlemen, the runner-up in this category is Faisal Bank Limited. May I welcome Mr. Yusuf Hussain, the President and CEO of Faisal Bank Limited, to please come and accept this. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the winner in this category, Best Bank of the Year 2022. Please welcome, the winner is Standard Chartered Bank, Mr. Rehan Sheikh, President and CEO. Standard Chartered Bank, Pakistan. Congratulations, Rehan Saab. Congratulations to Standard Chartered Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, the last subcategory of the evening, Banking Awards. And I must also encourage all of the winners to please pose with our wonderful media wall and, you know, create memories that's going to last forever for all of you. The groups and the teams can come together and have a group picture there. Last category of the evening, ladies and gentlemen, Best Bank of the Year 2022, a large-size bank. The runner-up in this category, please put your hands together for Bank Al Falah Limited, Mr. Atif Bajwa, the President and the CEO of Bank Al Falah. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are going to move on to the big winner of the evening, the Best Bank of the Year, Large Size Bank. The winner in this category. Please put your hands together for Mizan Bank Limited, Mr. Irfan Siddiqui, the President and the CEO of Mizan Bank Limited. Please, sir, come and accept this. Congratulations, Irfan Saab. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for all our winners in all the categories, the runner-ups, the winners. They've really done a spectacular job. May I also thank our wonderful facilitator, Mr. Raza, for being here. Other gentlemen, I request you to please stay with us. Thank you, Raza. Thank you for being here. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, as you can imagine, this evening has been most difficult, most tough for the people who've actually contributed to the jury. So may I take this opportunity of inviting the jury up on stage for a group photograph with our distinguished guests. Please welcome Mr. Sajjad Anwar, CFA, Ms. Sanam Ali Zaib, Taha Khan Javed, CFA, Shamoon Tariq, CFA, Mohammad Tahir Said, CFA, Mohammad Shoaib, CFA, Asif Arsalan Sumro, CFA. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the judges for the 20th Awards of Excellence at the CFA Society, Pakistan. Raza Jafri, CFA, Mustafa Pasha, CFA, Mehvesh Waliani, CFA, Muhammad Asim, CFA, Ruhail Muhammad, CFA, Mir Muhammad Ali, CFA, Aisha Aziz, CFA, Imtiaz Ghadar, CFA, Farooq Kareem Khan, CFA, Farhan Rizvi, CFA, Muhammad Sajid, CFA, Zahiruddin Khalid, CFA, Mubashir Zubairi, CFA, Maryam Mughal, Sadia Khan, Nazish Sekha, Dr. Alan Lok, CFA, Rukhsana Narejo, CFA, Fauzia Wakar, and Dr. Amjad Waheed. May I also request the volunteers to please join us up here. Without them, without their contribution, it would have been impossible. Mr. Ali Shah Jumani, CFA, Ali Shah Malik, Harun Zafar, CFA. May I request you all to please step forward on the line for a group picture. Please, may I request the photographers to choreograph this and sort of help them out if they're well organized in this or however you want to change this. Thank you to our wonderful jury, the volunteers and the facilitators who've really given it their precious time and energy to make it happen. Thank you. A big thank you to our jury and volunteers. May I request you to please take your seats, but may I request our guests of honor to please stay with us. We'd like another photo opportunity. May I now request the board members to please join us up on stage. May I request Mr. Muhammad Shoaib, Mr. Asif Ali Qureshi, Mr. Sajjad Anwar, Ms. Ruxana Narejo, Mr. Raza Jafri, Mr. Abdul Rahman Tahir, Mr. Tahir Saeed and Ms. Sarwat Ehsan to please join us up on stage. This is the wonderful board of the CFA Society Pakistan, without whose efforts this evening would have been impossible. May I request you all to please come together for a photograph. This truly will be a memory's sake. Ladies and gentlemen, before we call it an evening, we'd like a small memento of appreciation that is going to go as a memory's sake with our distinguished guests. First and foremost, may I request the board members to please present to our distinguished and esteemed chief guest, Mr. Muhammad Ali, a memento, a plaque that will remind him of this wonderful evening that he spent with the fraternity. Ladies and gentlemen, this shield is going to go with our distinguished chief guest. Thank you, sir. A small token of our appreciation for your presence and participation. It truly means a lot to us. May we also take this opportunity to present a similar memento to our guest of honor, Dr. Inayat Hussain, Deputy Governor of the State Bank of Pakistan. Thank you, sir, for your presence and your participation. And now, ladies and gentlemen, may I thank all the board members for being here. And before you depart, actually, I'm going to hand over the mic for a formal vote of thanks and conclusion to our distinguished Executive Director. We have with us from the Executive Committee, the Executive Director of the CFA Society, Ms. Sarwat Ehsan.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Sidra and request the chief guest to please give her a plaque. Sidra, please, if you could. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all the guests for being here. And lastly, I'd like to acknowledge and thank you, Sidra, for her excellent moderation. And I'd like to thank my very lean team for making this happen. Thank you, all of you. And the dinner is served.
Thank you, Sarwat. Thank you, gentlemen. May I request you all to please join us for the dinner. And as they say in French, bon appetit, but locally we say, roti khul gayi hai. Thank you. Thank you all. Have a good evening.